We begin this hour with a highly anticipated new movie and the true story behind it.
Jesse, break left. Roger that. Happy hunting. It's bow time.
Whoa, Devotion, which stars Jonathan Majors and Glenn Powell, hit theaters this week. It tells the inspirational story of two Navy pilots who fought in the Korean War, which began in 1950 when North Korea invaded the South. Jericka Duncan has been following their story for more than 7 years. She spoke with the actors and reflected on her conversation with one of the heroes whose story they tell.
205, I still have ordnance. I can hit the bridge. It's 200 AA, 211. Stand down.
The movie Devotion, based on a true story, travels back in time to the Korean War. It follows the lives of two fighter pilots, Tom Hudner and Jesse Brown, played by actors Jonathan Majors and Glenn Powell.
This movie meant so much to so many people. I've never seen a crew rally around a story like I've seen this one.
205 is in high.
Everyone wanted to get it right.
Jesse Brown being the first African-American naval aviator. I went, oh, I've not done that before. I've not told the story of the first anything. This is not a buddy film. This is a film about fate and legacy.
Devotion was first a book released in 2015. That same year, I interviewed the real Tom Hudner. At age 90, he described his memories of Jesse Brown.
He was a very positive personality and was a friend to everybody.
The son of a sharecropper, Brown grew up picking cotton in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
You were out here before the sun came up.
His brother Fletcher took us back to the field where the seeds to Jesse's pilot dreams were planted.
What was Jesse's reaction when those planes would get so close to you?
I would be talking about he's going to do that. Yeah, that's what he's going to do.
Hudner had a far different experience. He grew up in Massachusetts, joined the Naval Academy, and says he became a pilot at the urging of his friends. But it's what happened on one mission in 1950 that bonded these two men forever. After Brown's plane was shot down in North Korea, Hudner intentionally crash-landed his to try to save his friend.
I couldn't move him.
Why not?
He was pinned in. The first thing he said was, "Tom, we've got to figure out a way to get out of here."
In the end, there was nothing Hudner could do.
I couldn't think of anything worse than watching death approach you, sitting in that airplane and not being able to get away from it.
What did Jesse tell you to tell his wife before he died?
Jesse wanted his wife to know how much he loved her, and that was the message I gave to her.
Brown's wife, Daisy, would later stand by Hudner's side. President Harry Truman, who signed an executive order ending racial segregation in the U.S. Armed Forces, awarded Hudner with the Congressional Medal of Honor for his efforts to save Brown. In October, Hudner and Brown were honored at the Naval Aviation Museum in Pensacola, Florida. The families reunited, including Hudner's son and Brown's granddaughter, who talked about the movie.
We've always known that this was a really amazing story and exciting that the world now gets to know of it.
Roger that.
I think having the platform of a major motion picture really elevates it so that more and more people will get to know the story of Jesse and Tom.
I figured that this would be the closest that I would get to experience what my dad and what Jesse experienced, on a daily basis during their service.
Hudner passed away in 2017, but before his death, actor Glenn Powell promised him that his story would make it to the big screen.
It's wild to think back to that moment when I met with Tom Hudner and his family and really got a very interesting glimpse into how this relationship really defined his life.
What do you think Tom Hudner and Jesse Brown would say if they could see this movie?
I think he'd say, thank you. In his final letter to Daisy, he says, I love you forever. I mean, that's just epic to me.
And he was only 24 years old.
And his love story is still going. I feel like our brother and friend, Ensign Jesse Leroy Brown, from Mississippi, from the mud to the sky, would probably be saying, thank you. Very simply, thank you.
For CBS Mornings, I'm Jericka Duncan.
There is so much hope in that story.
I love this. Is probably my favorite. This is my favorite piece of the year. It's just so beautifully told, and it really not only puts you there, but it helps you understand this bond that these two individuals had. And when you hear Captain Hudner saying that he couldn't do anything because he was pinned down, and what it's like to watch a man slowly slip off, I can't imagine. But
and the moral of all this: determination, friendship, respect between men, devotion.
And devotion. I cannot wait to see it.
We'll be checking this out for sure.
That's right. Well, Devotion is out in theaters now, and you can hear more of Jericka's conversation with Glenn Powell and Jonathan Majors on today's CBS Mornings podcast, including how they met and bonded at a Turkish-Russian bath.
I'm going to listen to that, too.